Hello and welcome back to a brand new season of the Campus Ministry Show and a new school year here at Lancaster Catholic High School. I'm Father Logue, host of the show and chaplain of the school. And it's great to be back with you, great to be welcoming everyone back into our buildings, and to be starting our year off with our new theme, Go to Joseph. Last year we were focused on Mary, this year we're focused on Joseph. So I want to take a couple minutes to talk about Joseph and kind of why we chose him and how we can start the year off keeping that theme in mind of going to Joseph. Now, the theme itself, go to Joseph, that comes from the Old Testament, talking about the Old Testament Joseph, the one who was sold into slavery by his brothers, went down to Egypt, interpreted dreams, and then saved the whole family when things went south back home. But it applies to the New Testament Joseph as well. Throughout the church's history, we've looked at that phrase from the Old Testament where it says, go to Joseph, talking about that Joseph, and connected it to our Joseph, the Joseph of the New Testament. Not much is said about Joseph in the New Testament, and even less is said by him. Joseph famously said nothing. We have no quotes from Joseph, the foster father of Jesus, husband of Mary. So what can we really learn from him if he didn't say anything, if he didn't write anything, if we don't really know that much of what he did either? We don't have that many references to him. Why is he so important, and what do we do with that? Now, the little bit we do have, I think, is perfect for starting out our year. Famously, Joseph was going to marry Mary. Well, actually, he already was married. It was the weird two-step Jewish marriage at the time. But he's married to Mary. He's getting ready to welcome her into his home. And then he finds out Mary's pregnant. And that was kind of a shock. And then he finds out that child is the Son of God, and he's supposed to be a part of that somehow. And his initial reaction was to kind of back away. He's like, I don't know if I can do this. And he decided to divorce her quietly. And it took the angel coming in and encouraging him, no, don't be afraid, take Mary into your home, you are called to this. And I think that's so incredibly relatable. Joseph feeling a little overwhelmed, a little unprepared. One of the jokes that we often talk about in terms of Joseph is, if you look at the Holy Family, you've got Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. Mary never sinned, Jesus never sinned, so if anything went wrong in the household, it was almost certainly Joseph's fault or Joseph's mistake. That's a lot of pressure on a guy to be the only one in the family who ever sinned. We don't tend to like people who seem too perfect. Now, Mary and Jesus were never obnoxious about it because they weren't sinning, but still, it would have been a lot. And we can think, man, what did Joseph even have to bring to that, right? You have Mary, the first sinless person since Adam and Eve, who then succeeded where they failed. You have Jesus, the Son of God. Why do we even need this Joseph character? What is he doing here? What does he bring to the family? And I'm sure Joseph felt some of that pressure himself. What was he supposed to do with this? And I think that's really insightful for our new year, because sometimes whether it's we don't feel qualified for what we're called to do, or we don't feel ready for the situations that are thrust upon us, we don't feel prepared, or we kind of feel overwhelmed, Joseph understands that completely. And when he was tempted to kind of back away and say, hey, I don't know if I'm your guy, God said, no, you're absolutely my guy. Even with whatever weaknesses, whatever struggles, whatever challenges you face yourself, you're my guy. And I think we need to change the narrative on its head a little bit, that it wasn't Joseph kind of stuck with these two perfect people. It was these two people supporting Joseph and helping him to achieve great things as a saint himself. As we start this new year, like Joseph, all of us were brought here by God for a reason. It's not an accident that we're here. It's not an accident that we're starting out this year together. We're brought here by God for a reason, and we should trust that reason and follow God where he's called us. And secondly, we want to strive to be like the Holy Family in supporting each other, that maybe any one of us on our own is not enough. We're not enough. We can't do it on our own. We don't bring enough to the table. But together, with the support of each other, that is really where our own gifts can shine, and we can be that saint that God has called us to be. So, as we start this new year off, remember, go to Joseph. God bless, and welcome back.